Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Making the rounds is the Bob Saget and Kelly Rizzo podcast from October 25th, 2021. If you go to about 48 minutes and 30 seconds into the podcast, Bob Saget, just out of the woodwork, says, "I don't have long to live. I'm going to die in bed." And then his wife has a little laugh about it. And on January 9th, that's what was reported, that Bob Saget passed peacefully in his sleep. And then a month later, on February 9th, it came out that he died from a head trauma. And then the next week, a judge blocked any more information from getting out about the death. And as we've said, when a celebrity dies, it brings a lot of attention to their body of work, and it brings in more revenue because then people go back and buy their stuff, whether it's the Full House DVD collection or the America's Funniest Home Videos series, or whatever else Bob Saget has out there for merchandise, t-shirts, whatever it is. Death brings attention, death brings sales, there's a marketing gimmick to death, and then the other side of this is if somebody has an insurance policy on you and the death is faked, you can still collect the money. So there's a huge financial racket behind the faking of deaths. And in an example like this, it's crystal clear what happened. So let's just watch the little clip here, and then I'm going to show you what I showed you on January 9th. My first thought was, wow, he died on the perfect day at the end of the NFL season where the numbers scream 49ers and wild card, and sure enough, the 49ers went to win in the wild card round in Texas, like Texas Hold'em, when he's known from a show for Full House. You know, a name that comes from playing cards. Remember, he died on a date with 52 numerology, like there's 52 cards in the deck. 49ers equals 52, like wild card. Anyway, we'll get to all that. Let's watch the clip, and then we'll talk about the numbers. And notice this was episode 118. As we know, death equals 118. Tupac Shakur died on a 118 date numerology, so we're told, after he assumed the alias Machiavelli after Machiavelli, who faked his death. But anyway, let's watch this, and then we'll put it together.
And get all cozy on the couch and watch
movies. You love Big Lebowski every day. You could watch Big Lebowski four times a day.
The Godfather, Wayne's World, Godfather 2, Goodfellas, Casino, Scarface. But
so I don't have long to live. These are your favorites. I'm going to be found dead in bed.
You better watch out.
So he doesn't have long to live. He's going to be found in bed, exactly what they reported. And in case she ends up taking down this podcast from October 25th, 2021, which is on Bob Saget's channel, the good news is I've archived that part of the clip and uploaded it to my own site, so it's not going anywhere. And here's the thing. The day they did this, October 25th, that's the day leaving 67 days left in the year. And as we know, that number is connected to death because human sacrifice is 67, blood sacrifice is 67, TaNaKh is 67, soul is 67. In Bob Saget's case, 67 is the 19th prime number. Bob equals 19, and he was reported dead on January 9th, 19 like 19. And from the day they did that podcast to the day that he was reported dead in bed was 76 days later. Again, a huge number for the 49ers this year in their 76th season when San Francisco equals 76. Again, they beat the Cowboys, dropping the Cowboys, I believe it was to 7-6 in the wild card round, and then they beat Aaron Rodgers the next week, giving Aaron Rodgers his 76th career loss. And then, interestingly enough, they faced the Rams, and the Rams could have picked up their 76th loss against the 49ers, but they did not. But still, the 49ers went to the conference championship and were a team that wasn't even expected to make the playoffs. They snuck in, and then they went deep into the playoffs. But where San Francisco's 76, 49ers is 52, and again, he died on a 52-date numerology, 52 cards in the deck, full house, poker terminology like cards. And wild card is 52. Always big 52 rituals in the wild card round. So yeah, the initial thought about his death being a ritual synced up with San Francisco in the playoffs, no doubt about it that was correct. But now we have greater evidence of just how much deeper it was. And, I mean, joking about his coming death in bed. And that's pretty much what's in the news every day. Stuff that makes a joke out of all of us. We're pretty much lied to with nearly every mainstream story there is. And it's not to say that some of these celebrities aren't actually dying, But even when they die, usually the cause of death is some BS reason. And here I want to expand on something else because I actually went back and looked at the Murder by Numbers movie poster and made another great observation that I'd been overlooking all this time. But if you missed the Super Bowl, one of the commercials was Scarlett Johansson faking her death. And actually, here, let me just play that quick clip from the commercial. This is an Alexa Amazon commercial with Scarlett Johansson.
When is the show open?
March 8th.
Setting reminder to fake your own death on March 8th.
So, setting reminder to fake your own death on March 8th. And as we know, that date can be written 3-8 or 8-3. And right from the Murder by Numbers movie poster, you got that 3-8-8-3 encoded right in it. Murder's got that Gematria 38 and 83. Murder by Numbers, the song, came out in 83. The star of the film, Sandra Bullock, 83. Its release date was 38 weeks after Sandra Bullock's birthday while she was in her 38th year of life. And, of course, her name's also 83 in Gematria, but killing, death, R.I.P., Gematria, English, they're all 38. The code that comes from Kabbalah, 38. Again, the song Gematria, the killing name. Anyway, and notice what day Murder by Numbers came out. April 19th, the day that Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. And again, in that movie poster, the orange numbers around the words are 7 and 9. Murder, when you run it forwards, is also 79. Like the Agatha Christie novel, the ABC Murders is killing, or the ABC Murders equals 79. Again, about how killing is the code of ABC 1, 2, 3. That's what that story's about. And the ABC Murders is like Society of Jesus. Again, the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus, Ignatius of Loyola, April 19th. But that Scarlett Johansson commercial not only is the joke for March 8th, but from her birthday, which is the anniversary of JFK's death, to the day that commercial debuted, February 13th, 83 days later. You know what I mean? Making a joke about faking deaths with the Hollywood stars. And I did find that there was an article written about the commercial before it debuted on the 38th day of the year, February 7th. Go figure. But, yeah, this was making the rounds that this was out there. But, again, to really understand the ritual and why they did it on the day they did, 76 days before the reported death, that's where you got to know Gematria, the language that these rituals are coded out in. And keep in mind, the day that broadcast, October 25th, 2021, that was a date with 76 numerology as well. So they do it on a 76-date numerology. 76 days later, he's dead, synced up with the big 76 rituals in the 49ers 76 season in the playoffs. Again, full house, set in San Francisco where the 49ers are. Also interesting, his wife, Kelly Rizzo, from her birthday, from her last birthday to the podcast, it was 159 days later, and Kelly Rizzo's 159. So, and again, if you come to my website, in case that podcast goes down, just, when you come to my website, gematriaeffect.news, just use the search. If you type in Bob Saget, it'll pull up the posts on his death. And speaking of the posts on his death, let's go over just some of the other recent headlines. The Florida judge blocking any additional information about the death. That came 38 days after the death. And keep in mind, he died in Orlando, Florida, where both Orlando and Florida equal 38, like death, murder, killing, RIP. And that was the 47th day of the year. Judge Gavel Bay, all 47. So on the 47th day of the year, you get that ruling. On February 9th, the week before, a date that can be written 9/2, they come out and say he died from a head trauma, after for the last month we were told that he just died in his sleep. Story that didn't really make any sense. Who just dies in their sleep out of nowhere when they're perfectly fine the day before? I mean, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, except for in the fictional media. And don't forget how they were scaring people at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. It's sad that the mainstream media gets to keep up their trash on YouTube, but the actual truth tellers have been censored to death for supposedly misinformation. The mainstream media was giving you bullshit stories at the beginning of the pandemic that people who were 30 years old just went to bed with what seemed like, a little stuffy nose and then died overnight from COVID. I guarantee you that story didn't happen to anyone anywhere in the world who was 30 years old, but we got a handful of those stories, and they scared the shit out of a lot of people at the beginning of the pandemic. Again, what comes through the news is complete bullshit every day. And let's see, was there any other posts? You had the Dave Chappelle Jesuit ritual coming out with the Bob Saget death. Again, that's who runs the show. Oh, let's not forget, Bob Saget died the day of the 79th Golden Globes. And Orlando also equals 79. You know, just like murder. And again, just like we were saying with the Murder by Numbers movie poster. You know? Again, most simple cipher. Alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, so on. Orlando is 79. It's also 34. Look at Orlando and murder, actually. 79, 34, 38. And again, the day of the 79th Golden Globes. So, just all goes together way too well. But yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet. I got to hop over. We're doing a Patreon live stream right now. And again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and shares these videos. It is much appreciated. Until next time, everybody.